My first day here at working in Charlotte, I was pulling into the station, nervous as hell. I'm like, you get that first day jitters, and I pulling into the gate, and I randomly get a phone call from a number I don't have. So I'm like, whatever, it says it's from Lansing. So I answer it, and I was like, hey, hello, this is Joey. And he's like, Joey, this is Tom Izzo calling. And it was literally Izzo.
Welcome into another week, another great conversation. I have Joey Ellis here from Queen City News in Charlotte. And Joey, how are you doing today, man?
Not too bad, man. It's 72 degrees as the time we're recording this right now. So I might dip out to the pool, get a little tan or something at this point. Midwest, it feels like it's 90 at this point.
Hey, I can see the sun, man. You got some good sun going there.
Yeah, it's a nice day. I can't complain.
And I'm here thinking 45 degrees is nice, but
shorts weather there, baby.
Here we are. Have you ever seen a situation like the Panthers where another team decided their playoff fate?
I believe it was actually I can't remember the exact year. I know it was almost 10 years ago. I believe it was the Seahawks team that backed their way into the playoffs as well when they were a game under 500. It was actually the same team that Dave Canales was actually on the staff of. Now, obviously, the head coach of the Panthers. So, I mean, in terms of Carolina, I haven't quite seen it like that, but we kind of had a feeling with the way that this wacky, mediocre NFC South was this year that probably something like that was going to happen. We probably knew it was going to come down to Tampa and Carolina. Didn't quite see New Orleans and Atlanta playing the role that they did, but, I mean, it was very on brand for this division.
Very on brand. Usually it's one of those divisions that there's a losing record team that goes in. I remember the Seahawks a couple years ago were like that, and they ended up winning the first playoff game. So that's who knows what's going to happen there.
Right.
What about this Panthers team just surprised people this year to be even in this position?
Just, man, I don't know. It's the inconsistent results, I think, that has probably surprised people. It's like you go to Lambeau, you beat Green Bay, who was the top team in the NFC at the time. They come home, and then, they have a stinker. They'll lose to New Orleans at home. They get swept by New Orleans. Some of the games that they've lost, but then other games where they look pretty darn good. They beat the Rams at home, obviously, the Week 13. They get them again on Saturday. They go to San Fran and shoot themselves in the foot before the game really even gets going. And in a game that they really, had they played clean football, maybe had a chance to, maybe not necessarily win, but have a chance to make that thing interesting. So I think it surprised people with just how they can look in 1 week, and then the next week it's just like it's a trend of just win-loss, and you can't really quite get a read for what Panthers team's going to show up. I think they've gotten a couple of their stinkers out of the way early. We'll see if that kind of shows up on Saturday or if it's a team that looks pretty prepared for what I think is probably the best team in the Rams in the NFC, probably one of the best picks to really win the Super Bowl at the end of this thing.
I totally agree with that. It's going to be a team from the NFC West.
Yes.
I cannot rely on my Bears. The defense is questionable, very questionable, and offense inconsistent. Even though your guy Ben Johnson, he's been helping us out here this year.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about him. I still am just distraught with the way the Lions season has went. But we could go another whole hour on that, so I'm going to try to refrain from getting too worked up over that.
Hey, it's all good, man. I was a big Panthers fan the week they played the Rams because that was the 1 week the Bears were number one in the NFC.
Right. It was short-lived, but hey, you celebrate the wins when you can.
There we go. Always.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you see this game matching up for a second time? This Panthers already have the one up on them playing them at home the last time.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll necessarily go the way that it went back in that late November game. I mean, the weather was crap. I mean, they had 3 turnovers. They picked off Stafford twice. They had a pick 6. They had a fumble that sealed the game. I don't see it going that way. There is rain now forecasted for Saturday, so we'll see kind of how that factors in. I don't know. I think LA is coming in motivated. They're not really playing great football coming in. They've lost 2 of 3 heading into the playoffs, but they're getting healthier. Devontae Adams is coming back in the lineup. He probably could have played weeks ago, but they wanted to just kind of keep him into the playoff run. But Carolina, when they played them the first time around, they were down a couple of starters. They had no Trevon Merrick at safety. J.C. Horn wasn't playing. Christian Roseboom, the former Ram, wasn't playing at linebacker. So they were down starters as well. So I think that was even more impressive how they won that game. My biggest question now is if you get into a game where it's a shootout or you have to keep up offensively, I don't know if Carolina can. the offense has been struggling of late. The run game's kind of disappeared. They were once the top 10 unit earlier in the season, now down to 19th, 20th, and some of the numbers that you look at there. If they can run the ball, though, I think they have a chance. Like, they have to run the ball from the get and really establish the line of scrimmage and really eat up clock and take away possessions, because if they don't run the football, I think it's going to be a long day. I don't necessarily know if I trust the defense enough to hold up against that Rams offense, because they got so many weapons and they're playing as well as anyone offensively still. And McVay, they're so well coached. I think the Rams win. It's either going to be a tight one. I think the Panthers could cover that spread, which is pretty big at 10.5. It's either going to be somewhere in that where the Panthers cover that, or things kind of get away from them and the floodgates open, and similar to the game against Seattle, and it kind of pulls away late. I don't know. I'd be shocked if Carolina wins. I think playing at home does help them, because that place is going to be juiced up. I mean, it's a winnable game, but I just don't think it goes their way. But I might be surprised come Sunday, when we're maybe talking again and breaking things down.
Devontae Adams coming back too. That's big for the Rams as well. Yeah. I mean, he's Devontae Adams, so
he's Devontae Adams. I mean, Puka Nacua made some really good catches the first time around. So, I mean, there's so many weapons to deal with. But they had Adams too when they played him in the first time around. That's why it was even more shocking that they won that game down 3 starters defensively. So, I'm more so looking at Carolina's offense, like what offense shows up and can they keep pace with Stafford and company? That remains to be seen.
8 years since the last Panthers playoff game. What do you expect? Just the city to be like, the environment? How is it this week there?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly rocking. That Week 16 home game against Tampa, where it was divisional implications. I mean, it felt like a playoff game then, and it wasn't even. So, back in the playoffs for the first time in 8 years, back hosting a playoff game for the first time in over a decade. Of course, they did it last in 2015. I mean, this city, they're starving for any success of any kind right now, especially the Panthers. So, I mean, the place is going to be absolutely electric on Saturday. We're doing a big show Friday night as well at one of the rooftop bars in Charlotte as well, and expect that to be packed. I think people have just been clamoring for some kind of success, and they'll even take a sub-500 season where they've backed their way into the playoffs because, I mean, Ellis talked about it earlier in the week. Like, they're an elite company. You only have 12 teams playing for the Lombardi at the end of this. So Carolina being one of them, it's been a long time since we've seen the black and blue in the playoffs. I think a lot of people are just excited and kind of just fortunate to be here, but also at the same time think that they still have a potential to do something since they've beaten this team already. I know it is the Rams, but there's just a lot of excitement, I think, to see this team continue their season.
You never know once you get to the playoffs. You never know.
No, you never know. Yeah. Never know.
And the fact that they get a home field too, that's a good advantage
huge.
as well.
It's massive. And I don't want to hear about the divisional winners don't get a home field. Although I was saying the opposite last year when Detroit, Minnesota, and Minnesota was a 15-win team and they had to go on the road against, I think, an NFC South team. I think they went to Tampa, if I recall. So, I mean, whatever. Carolina will take it. They'll play at home. The place will be electric, and we'll see if that helps at all on Saturday.
Another big thing in Charlotte, the hub of NASCAR.
Yeah.
You cover a lot of NASCAR races. You've traveled to Phoenix, other places as well.
Yeah.
How much NASCAR did you cover before you went to Charlotte?
Very minimal. When I was in Lansing, Michigan, they had the summer race there, and my 2 years there, when they'd send me there for literally maybe a day and a half, I would scream bloody murder to my news director that I didn't want to go and had zero business wanting to go. And I'd go and it'd be fine. Like, the race day itself was fine. So when I got here, I had zero clue what really I was getting myself into. And I mean, yeah, we're like the bread and butter for NASCAR coverage for the company here, because it's just so much of it is right in our backyard. So didn't know as much as I do know now. I still don't, I couldn't tell you why on lap 243 they went to these kinds of tires for this. Like, I don't think I'll ever really understand all that. I know the storylines enough. I know the drivers enough. I know the teams enough to, give the coverage that we need to when we're at certain races. And honestly, I've kind of come to enjoy it. Like, we're getting ready for Daytona again in about 6 Sundays from now, and we'll be down there for 6 nights like we were last year. And I mean, they're fun. Like, those are long trips, but like the NASCAR community's been awesome, and they're very, very embracing and welcoming, and just want more people to kind of shed some light in the sport. And honestly, like, race days itself are honestly super fun. Like, I've enjoyed every single one that I've been to, and honestly really look forward to it. So not my, biggest passion, my biggest love, but when I'm there, I kind of find myself fully immersed in it, and it's a pretty fun time.
What's helped you kind of get into that mindset when you're there, just getting to know the sport more and enjoying it now?
Yeah, I mean, it's just because we do it so much. I mean, come the NASCAR season, like, we do so much with it in the week to week when it's going on. Obviously, we're doing other things in the area that's going on, but when you've got interviews, 2 or 3 interviews a week, like you have to kind of be up to snuff on what's going on. It's not like basketball or football where from 30,000 feet you can kind of keep tabs on storylines and go in there and kind of rely on your knowledge of just the sport in general. Like if I go in there, these guys are going to know or not if I'm remotely in tune with what's going on in the sport. So like it's just kind of part of our jobs to kind of, take it upon yourself to know as much as you can. And honestly, I've kind of come to enjoy it, and covering the championships in Phoenix just a couple of months ago, that was a blast. And I mean, we're really looking forward to Daytona. It's honestly become like one of my more favorite events to cover.
What has been a top moment for you covering NASCAR? There's been a lot of close races and big moments this last season.
Yeah, I mean, like Daytona last year, because again, I went in there pretty raw to it, and I was like, God, they're throwing me on this like for 6 days. Like, what am I doing? Like, I was like studying up on that. I was just sweating bullets just to go there. But I mean, that was a blast just because like you really realize the spectacle that is starting off the season. We went to Texas, which was fun. Charlotte's had a couple of obviously really big crown jewel races. The championships in Phoenix were a blast, just being tasked with that opportunity for the entire company, which was awesome. And I mean, there were so many storylines, and the way that race ended, and Denny Hamlin all but winning it, which would have been his first title in 5 tries there. And he's obviously been one of the best racers to not win a title. And then just coming up short the way he did was backbreaking for him. And just the way that race was decided, it was just super fun. I mean, it's very different from covering football, basketball, everything else. And I've honestly come to enjoy it. I don't know if I'll become some 40-year NASCAR veteran reporter, but I definitely have more of a appreciation for the sport, and just I definitely have enjoyed my time around it.
The next Marty Smith out here, that's what we had.
Yeah, you got to be versatile, baby. You gotta do what you can. Take what you can.
Yeah, everybody has to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And, go from there. With your journey so far, I mean, you've been in Charlotte, just a little less than 2 years now?
Yeah, coming up on 2 years in July, which is hard to believe how fast the time flies.
Crazy, man, crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
What's thinking back so far in this job, what's been the most rewarding thing about it, working in a market with pro teams and all those things?
Yeah, it's just like it's how far you come on certain journeys and whatnot, and I'm sure everybody you've talked to has said something similar and whatnot, and just how much growth you realize in your own self when you're looking. It's like, all right, this is my first TV stop. Like, holy cow, I don't even know what I was doing then. Like, who put me on the television to do that? And and then the second stop, and it's like, all right, I can see the improvement. And now this, and my third stop on camera, it's like, okay, I can, you can kind of start to see what you're capable of doing. And like some of the opportunities that we get to do here, I think kind of have stretched more the limits for what traditional local TV looks like in terms of sports coverage. And there were things that I wasn't really familiar with doing when I was in Lansing, when I was in Marquette, Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula. So like, this third stop here is definitely like kind of pushed the boundaries for what I can do. And it's like, it's satisfying because it leaves me even like more hungry to be like, listen, I've done this, and this. Like, I know I can do this, that, and that. And like, still know there's so much more to kind of reach. And it's been rewarding. It's been challenging because again, a lot of it's been kind of push myself out of my own comfort zone and things that I don't really think I would even be able to do. But it's been a blast. We got a great team here. We do a lot of cool things. So it's, we wish the teams here could start winning a little bit more to make more of what we're doing a little bit more rewarding, but we'll take what we can in the meantime.
What are some of the new things that you've been doing that you're like, hey, I'm good now?
Yeah. I mean, as you know, like a lot of the local sports TV scene, it's, stand in front of the same monitor. You do 4.5, 5 minutes, and it's this couple of sports stories. You do a couple of highlights, and it's it. And then after 5 of them, you can do them with your eyes closed. Mm-hmm. You get the occasional specials or the longer shows on a Sunday, but here it's like the whole operation was a lot more different that I was not familiar with before I even really got here, to be honest. And it's a lot more like talk radio. It feels on TV. It's a half hour every night. We do an hour on Sunday night. We do an hour Panthers pregame, being the TV partner with them. We do an hour Panthers postgame show. You're getting more exposure with Panthers players, Hornets players. It's just like, it's more of the access that I did not have before. So you're trying to find ways to kind of, find your own self and like building relationships with the players and finding ways to like be engaging and whatnot with whatever you're doing TV wise. So we just kind of, here it's interesting. It feels like we kind of stretched the limits for what local sports TV can be. And like, we're ambitious with what we want to do in terms of coverage and, how we want to do it for certain shows and whatnot. And I appreciate that. I wanted kind of more of that in my last stop. And that was kind of why I made the move. I wanted more advanced looking TV where I feel like I can do this, and that. And as I said earlier, it's exciting because I feel like now I can still do more, still want more. So it's rewarding and just kind of pushing myself out of my comfort zone and like a lot of doing things that I really didn't feel comfortable doing prior. But you don't really have much of a choice because you just kind of get thrown into it. And we get so many reps here. So it's good. It's very different. It's a unique way of doing it, but it's kind of been the challenge that I kind of wanted to get when I left Lansing.
That's always a good problem to have, is to challenge yourself, but then also to come out and, feel rewarded about that feeling
Right.
of, I pushed myself when I was uncomfortable, and now I'm like thriving in this moment.
Right.
With all that more access though, how have you adapted to that and felt comfortable in those environments?
Yeah, I think it's more of a weekly thing. It's like, the more you're around some of these athletes and whatnot, the more comfortable you get. You start seeing more of them around, and there's more of a rapport being built. It might not be best of friends, which I think a lot of people on TV, they just want to be best pals, but it's like, whatever, like chill out. Like it might not be that, but the more you're around someone, you can kind of sense that they're more comfortable being around you because they've seen you around, they've gotten to talk with you. So my just biggest thing is always trying to like not seem too overbearing, like just like make it very comfortable, and like I'm not there to like guilt them into something, trip them up on something. I'm simply there to kind of just get to know more of them, know more about the teams that we're covering, and just kind of bring out their best selves as well. So again, it's like every single time is some new opportunity, and it's a new opportunity for me to kind of improve on whatever the last encounter was with them and whatnot. So yeah, it's just cool having some of the access that we've had, and whether it's NASCAR, Hornets, Panthers, obviously anything in between. It's a lot more access here, and it's just it's cool to kind of build on those relationships.
But part of our job is, we show the human side of these athletes. So the big part is, hey, like you need to show them you're human too. You're not just trying to get sound bites out of them, or try to make them look bad and things like that. I know, your journey, you spent a lot of time in Michigan. That's where you're from. In Lansing, and then up in the UP. Shout out Porcupine Mountains.
Oh yeah.
I've been there. Cool
Great
place.
Great spot.
Northern Lights.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, looking back at your, Michigan's home for you, but looking back at your time covering there, I mean, you went to Michigan State, were able to cover Michigan State. So how do you look back at your time there?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, it was down to my two colleges when I was looking. It was Michigan State, Central Michigan, which had a great broadcast program, still does. I grew up in a family of Michigan grads, diehards. I mean, cousin, mom, dad, aunt, literally every single person on my dad's side are Michigan grads in some way or fashion. So, I mean, I've grown up a Michigan diehard. My dad's got season tickets for 35 years. So, I started applying to Michigan, damn well knowing they didn't have a broadcast program or really anything remotely similar to that. Saw that there were 2 essay entrants, to get into the school, and I think I'm good. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to get in here anyways. So my mom did undergrad at MSU, dental school at Michigan. So she was telling me, look at Michigan State, and didn't know much about it. But when I went to tour there, I kind of realized that they had a kind of budding journalism school that was kind of on the rise, and just felt like the opportunities there were going to align closely with what I wanted. And I wanted to be at a school where sports mattered. Not saying they didn't at Central Michigan, but I wanted to be, where you go to a game at the Breslin and it felt like a big game. You go to a game at Spartan Stadium. Granted, of course, when I was there, they were horrible and still have not been great. But the game, you get Ohio State coming into town, and it feels like a big game. So that, I mean, the experience there kind of really shaped my whole background. All 4 years was so involved, and had some great mentors and professors and classmates that I worked with that I still talk to this day and lean on to this day. And, some of the coaches you get to meet, Tom Izzo, he's one of the best. I mean, some of the things that you'll hear from the outside, people who don't know him, he complains a lot, he whines, like, whatever. I mean, he's a passionate coach. He's a passionate guy, but at the end of the day, he's a great human. I remember my first day here at working in Charlotte, I was pulling into the station, nervous as hell. I'm like, you get that first day jitters, and I pull into the gate, and I randomly get a phone call from a number I don't have. So I'm like, whatever, it says it's from Lansing. So I answer it, and I was like, hey, hello, this is Joey. And he's like, Joey, this is Tom Izzo calling. And it was literally Izzo, got my number, had found out when I was leaving East Lansing, and, just wanted to thank me for, the job that we did there covering his team and getting to know him. I worked for his daughter on the Athletic Boosters as well, just a side gig. So got to know the family well, obviously got to know Tom well while covering him. And he kind of just is as advertised. And I thought just that little call and having that 10-minute conversation before work was kind of the boost I needed to, take on a new opportunity, knowing, you get a guy like that in your corner, and he didn't have to do that, but it's just very Izzo, and it's not exactly what you see, in the headlines and whatnot and social media. So, my time at MSU was invaluable.
What a story.
Yeah, super cool.
That's awesome. What a guy too.
Yeah, great guy.
And so much respect for him. I went to Kansas, so Bill Self's still in the game. Yep. Tom Izzo's still in the game. John Calipari's still in the game. A lot of these other great coaches have already left. You talk about the Jay Wrights and the Bruce Pearls of the world. And so you have to respect the coaches that have been in it and still having success, even in this new era of college sports.
Totally. They're the legends in the game. You got to appreciate them while you have them, because I don't know how much longer we'll have them with the ways some of these things are going collegiately.
The thing that was funny too was like when Baylor got that mid-season transfer who was playing in the G League.
Yeah.
Tom Izzo's like, I'm going to call Scott Drew. I'm going to call him up because we can't be doing this in college sports. I was like,
totally.
That's very Tom Izzo.
It wasn't coming off as some call. It was a call out, yes, but Drew also, knowing who Izzo is, I'm sure, I'm not speaking for him, but I'm sure kind of respected his opinion and then probably gave his back as here's to why we're doing this. And that was Izzo's kind of taking the spear there in terms of speaking out against some of the things that probably are not right going on in the collegiate game. But that's just who he is. He's never going to make his opinion quiet. He's always going to make it known, and people can kind of take it how they want.
No, getting to know him, what do you think has made the longevity so successful for him?
I think just him being his authentic self. Working with him as a media member was awesome. He would just kind of keep it straight with you. And if you were out of line, he'd call you out, but it would be out of care and, appreciation. If you were coming in there and some random media member from Arkansas who drops in there and writes some hit piece on him, he's probably not going to appreciate that and call you out, deservedly so. But all the people who are in the trenches with him day in, day out, travel with him, he comes to know them, trust them, and, he'll hold some off-the-record meetings with media members and just honestly kind of shoot the shit, to be honest, about just what's going on and, his views on things. He wants to hear from you. He values the media members there, which is cool as well. And I just think it's him being authentic and, being so real to that community and just being so good consistently year in and year out for, 31 years and counting, which is remarkable. And, it just kind of speaks to the way where the program's at.
Yeah, I've been there longer than we've both been alive. How about that?
Unbelievable.
Makes us feel old, huh?
It sure does. I know.
Having been around that Michigan State atmosphere and just college basketball in general, covering March Madness, having the times that you've covered it, how has that made it different for you? Just kind of, being there almost every year.
Yeah, it was fun. Especially in Lansing, it was almost a given that you'd be going on some March run. And even when I was a student there, my senior year, I remember they put us student radio and TV members on the ride of our lives. Starting early March, they had an unbelievable run, went to the Big Ten championship game, I believe won that Big Ten championship game in Chicago in a crazy game against Michigan. And that was the same year that they went to the Final Four. They beat Zion Williamson and Duke in that Elite Eight game in DC, which we were on the call for, which was so fun for all of us. And, came up a game short. I still maintain if they won that Texas Tech semi, they would have met in Virginia in the final, and just Izzo does not lose to Virginia. It's just statistically proven does not lose to those teams. So still kind of salty about the way that went, but just some of the runs that him and his teams put us on as a student media, member of the media, it kind of helps. It helps so much, and just kind of the experiences in covering events like that, because you just become around them, and once you get to those events, you kind of know really what to expect and how to approach everything. And it was just great, really preparation for covering a lot of big other events otherwise elsewhere too.
And outside of school, when you first graduated, you went and actually worked for ESPN too, I saw. What would you suggest for people wanting to go that route, just learning the production side of things first before diving into the TV side?
Don't get married to doing one which thing. I was leaving school damn well knowing I wanted a job on air, and I damn well took that ESPN job knowing I was not going to be on air. But I said, you have 1,100 applicants apply and they selected 21 of them and you're one of them. It's like, that must be something. So I said, why not? Like, why not start at the biggest and baddest place? You can say what you want about the way that the company's gone, but to get that out of school, I thought was invaluable. And, just to learn and see what TV at a high level looks like, and not to mention networking with the people there and rubbing shoulders with some of the people there and the people that you call your colleagues on the day-to-day. So that experience was invaluable. I thought learning so much of what goes in behind the scenes and what goes into all that stuff behind the camera was so big for me, kind of setting that foundation to the point where I got to that first on-camera job. It felt so easy. I felt like just so prepared in terms of like the little production things that maybe the average viewer doesn't realize. But in my opinion, if you want to do TV at a high level, I think the things I learned there are things I still to this day do. And I still drive my coworkers crazy with the attention to detail of some of those things. But I've seen it. Like I've just seen what goes into that. And I had the little tricks of the trade that I learned there that I just can't get out of my head now. And it's just kind of how I'm wired. So I think the background and production behind the scenes has really made the on-camera stuff a lot easier because you kind of know now that side of it. And I think it just makes you more well-rounded, and being versatile in this business is so big, and you got to know how to do a lot of different things. So I don't regret those 2 years at all. I made some great friends who I'm still really close with to this day. Met a lot of great people who worked there, who are still there, or maybe have moved on. And I loved every bit of it.
You get that little taste of what the future might hold, and
totally, yeah,
and
100%.
you grab onto it. I mean, that was how I felt too with NBC Sports when I interned there for the Olympics. It was like the same feeling. You're just like, wow, like I see myself here. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
What were some of the shows that you worked on there?
Yeah, first 6 months I was on more of the morning shows. So I was working on like Get Up, Golic and Wingu at the time was on there, and then Sports Center in the morning were more my three that I would be working on about the first 6 months. So those were the big shows that I was on to start. And then the next 6 months, I moved to more like live production, more like on the studio side. So I was working college football, college basketball on the ABC crew there. So we'd be doing all the studio cut-ins, all the halftime shows, pregame shows, postgame shows from the studio. Worked with some pit bulls of producers who pushed me like no other and got on my ass like no other. But honestly, like in hindsight, like it helped me be better because I had really no choice but thrown in early to kind of figure it out on the fly. And again, so many of the principles and things that I've learned from them, I still use to this day. And, it's fun now watching those halftimes and whatnot, because I feel like I could still do them with my eyes closed now on the other side of it, because it's like you were so involved with all those things. So, just had an opportunity to do a lot of different things, was able to kind of here and there work on a couple of the ESPN majors for tennis, which was awesome because I'm a massive tennis fan. So I was able to slip my way onto the grounds there at a couple of those and kind of get involved in some capacity, and just had my hand in a lot of different things and just met a lot of different people and worked on a lot of different shows. And there's so much different programming there that they have now. It was fun though. Every day was different. Every, 6 months or so, I felt myself working on something different.
Oh yeah, I know how much you love tennis.
I love it.
And your guy
out for the Aussie, baby. Couple of days now, and we'll be having more Grand Slam tennis to go to.
Oh yeah, staying up till 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Of course, you can't beat it. It's great. It's right in my sleep schedule. It's perfect.
Oh yeah. What was that love for tennis? Where did that start for you?
Man, just kind of grew up in it. Like we weren't a golfing family, as people always like, oh, you chose the other country club. No, whatever. Like it was the sport we play. Like it was just grew up playing tennis.
Yeah.
Like my parents had a love for it. My grandparents were into it. My aunt played collegiate tennis. My other aunt did as well. So I kind of really didn't have a choice but to play it. We weren't big skiers, even though we had so much snow everywhere around us. So since then, my brother and I have always been super into it. We're still to this day trying to find a way, if we can find time, to start up a tennis podcast and travel the world for an entire year and go to every single tournament. But that might be on the back burner, but it is still a plan because we want to do it. But yeah, since then it's always, I love football. I love hoops. I really love every sport, to be honest. But like tennis is just, I grew up playing it at a high level, almost played collegiately until I messed my back up senior year in high school, which was awesome. So it's just a great sport. It's always on TV, which is awesome. It's always something to watch. And I don't know, something about the sport that's just super unique, and always will have a place in my heart for sure.
Singles player?
Singles. Although I do like playing doubles. Played number one singles all 4 years in high school. That was I mean, that was just my thing. Loved playing singles. Loved having the you versus just your opponent. There's nobody bailing you out. There's no time limit. You've got to figure it out on your own. I love that part of it, and I was competitive as anybody. Still am to this day. But doubles was fun too, although I didn't like it enough because I didn't like having to rely on somebody else. It wasn't their fault, but if they're dumping a ball into the net, that's what I think should be a gimme that should just pop over and it should be our point. I don't have the patience for that. Like let the wins and successes be on my own racket. So, but doubles was fun, but definitely more of a singles guy.
I played doubles, but that's because I was a good net player, so I could put away. I could put away any point. You want me to put away any point? I'll put it away. I'll put it away. Oh, what about tennis helped you with your job? I mean, that competitiveness, knowing the routines of an athlete, how does that help you with just your everyday?
Yeah, I think maybe just keeping more diversity in the job. It's like there's been certain things. It hasn't been that many just in the local route where, let's say, tennis does arise. And at that point, I'm always the first one to jump at the opportunity. I mean, we had a really cool exhibition that came here this past month or so that I was gone for, unfortunately, over Thanksgiving, missed that. But last year they had an exhibition with 4 of the top players in the world that came through Charlotte. And of course, when I saw that, I just told everybody and very quickly that I would be the one handling all of that. And that was that. And got an interview with Francis Tiafoe, who I grown up going to the junior national tournament, the biggest junior national tournament in Kalamazoo, Michigan, watching that with the rest of my tennis clinic that we traveled to every single summer, where I watched Tiafoe as a 12-year-old win the junior national tournament there. And I told him that after the interview because my mom was there as well. And I was like, hey, I remember watching you win Super Nats in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Like, that was insane. And he thought it was the coolest thing ever. So, it's just like, when you do have times to kind of weave that into the job, it's cool. And who knows? I mean, I'd love to find myself working in TV around that sport at some point. Like if that's something that, came open and that was a possibility, I'd be all in and I'd approach that with the same passion that I have for football or basketball and, totally immerse myself in that too. So, if a door opens in that realm, I would love to do that because I really do love that sport.
Travel the world, see different places. Tennis Channel does exist too, so there is.
I've been beating down their door. Don't worry, I've been trying to set something up there, so we'll see if there's any openings down the road. Because I mean, they're based in Malibu. Like, what's not to love about that?
Yeah, seriously, what's not to love about that, man?
Yeah, we'll take that.
Man, Malibu beach, everything.
Can't beat that.
That's the good life right there.
It is.
Joey, where can people follow all your work at?
Yeah, it's Twitter. I think it's Jellis. JELLIS 1016. I think that's the same on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Just my name on there. So try to be active on there and keep people updated. And that's where all the stuff goes down if you're not seeing it on linear cable, which a lot of people probably are not.
Definitely not these days.
No, not these days.
Yeah. Joey's great at posting all his stuff. Make sure you go and watch all his stuff and make sure you like and subscribe to this channel as well. Joey, I appreciate you joining me on Cousins Conversations, man.
Thanks for having me on. I'm glad we could do this.